Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, in this occasions, in this beautiful day, I'm going to talk about lessons plan. Yes, lesson plan. Or in bahasa it's called RPP, Rencana Pelaksanaan Pembelajaran. So guys, this video is to fulfill an assignment from the subject Elt Media Design from my lecture, Mr. Siswandi, S.Pd, M.Pd. Alright guys, let's not wait for any longer and just check it out the video and please stay tuned. Thank you. Let's begin with about the definitions of lessons plan. So lessons plan is in bahasa called RPP, Rencana Pelaksanaan Pembelajaran. Lesson plan is the backbone of the teachings and the learning process. It defines learning goals that students must achieve, materials and also activities to support them in achieving the goals, and also assessment to measure to what extent they have achieved the goal. You may have heard that sometimes lessons plans do not work well in the classrooms, yes, and it makes a few teachers prefer teaching without having any of them. However, the actual problem is not the lessons plan, but the way how it is designed. Therefore, this video will help you understand what you should and not do when designing a lesson plan for your English class. Alright, the first one is contextual your lessons plan. Despite using the same curriculum from the government, schools differ from each other in terms of policies on teachings and learning activities, and also socio-cultural settings. Therefore, your lessons should be planned based on your school's characteristics. You need to set the realistic time allotment based on your school policy. The time allotment for the English subject in a most public school is different from the one in many private schools. Thus, you need to be able to adjust your learning activities according to the time allotment given by your school. If you don't do so, your lessons will be over or on the time. Besides time considerations, school facilities should be taken into account in designing learning activities. If your school lacks digital technologies and the internet, don't include any activity involving these things, or you will end up wasting your teaching time on figuring out how to make your lessons work. Design your learning activity according to the available learning facility. Learning objectives are defined based on the basic competencies or competency dasar (KD) from the set of curriculum. The set directions of what students should learn and how they are assessed. There are some crucial aspects to consider when defining learning objectives. First, learning objective in the lessons plan must be scaffolded. It means that the first learning objective indicates the simple expected performance, and the next one becomes gradually more complicated. And then second, a learning objective should be measurable, meaning that students can demonstrate what is expected in the objective as the evidence of their learning. You should clearly indicate what your students should do and which language skill or learning aspect that they need to perform. The last, when formulating your learning objective, you should make each objective achievable. Achievable, it means that the one objective should only include one specific skill or one aspect of the learning. Learning objectives are the basis of the selections and formulations of learning activities and learning material. In addition, your students will also enjoy the lessons since they are not overwhelmed and abundant with a lot of abundant tasks. Assessment collects evidence of students' learning progress for the purpose of grading or giving feedback for improvement. Assessment results indicate to what extent they have achieved the learning objective. For this reason, your assessment should be designed by referring to your learning objective. Learning objective that involves simple performance and lower order thinking skill from the C1 until C3 should be assessed using a simple assessment practice such as identification of practical language aspect, fill in the blanks, multiple choice, sentence writing, finding appropriate words, error expressions, and etc. For learning objective that require higher order thinking skill, C4 until C6, it's complicated assessment practice such as error analysis, finding implicit meaning, text evaluations, role-play text compositions, and etc. It can be implemented just like the learning objective. Assessment should be scaffolded to ensure that your student acquire new skills and knowledge gradually. Conducting assessment without a clear sequence would definitely confuse your students and will make them uninterested in your lessons. Assessment does not only involve testing and grading. In a classroom situations, you should provide your students with the opportunity to practice their skills and knowledge and to get feedback to improve these aspects. Assessment for learning. You should also entrust your students to monitor their own progress, make adjustments to their learning, and reflect on their learning experiences. Assessment as learning. And also please keep in mind that learning is a process and students learn to acquire new skills and knowledge, not only scores but also grades. A lesson plan is not a more document that the teacher prepares only for administrative purposes. It's the manifestations of your view on your students and your values on teaching. Once you make your students a priority, putting yourself in their shoes and focusing on improving their learning experiences, your lessons planned will work just fine. Yes, I'm gonna give an example for the example of a lessons plan, especially in Indonesia. Yes, it's something like a document that include some aspect that should be inside the RPP or lesson plan. The first aspect that should be inside include in the lesson plan is the first is learning objective. Yes, learning objective. For example, the learning objective is the learners are able to understand the use of model for advice. That is the example of learning objective. And also I forgot to say that this English lesson plan should be written a time allocated and also the topic and also the what is the participant. So for example, participant is for example the class 7-1, yeah, and the time for example 90 minutes and the topic for example model for advice. Alright, the second aspect should be the learning method. So you should include the learning method, what you use in the lessons plan. For example, communicative learning and role playing. And also the third one is learning materials. Yes, learning materials. In these, I will look to the screen. For example, the learning materials is using a textbook, understanding and using English grammar, and also model for advice, handout, worksheet. And also the The fourth ones in the four aspects that should include in RPP is the procedure of the teaching and learning activity that you are going to be to teach in your classroom. So you should base on the lesson plan that you already make it before. For example, there are pre-activities, activities, and also post activities. So that's it. That is the lesson plan. It's very simple. It's very useful for you to make guidance when you are in the teaching process in your classroom, especially English language classroom. Alright guys, I think that's all I can deliver about the materials. Maybe I'm not delivered with the simple or clear explanations, but I hope when you listen to my explanation, you will get something benefit from this video, especially about the lessons plan, RPP. And I'm gonna say, I would like to say thank you so much for the attentions, especially for my lecture, Mr. Siswandi, S.Pd, M.Pd. Thank you so much. And the last guys, billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you in the next video guys, very soon. See ya.